Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, chapter 6 of Rise of the Horde by Christy Golden. I think it's a long one again, so let's just go! As time passed, and more Koshag festivals took place, the ceremony was somewhat marred by loss and tragedy. It became just as much a time for mourning as it did for celebration, and Ner'zhul was currently staring up at the night sky, deep in contemplation about the whole thing. Firstly, his old friend Kashur, affectionately known as Mother to the Frostwolves, had passed to the ancestors. She'd insisted on joining a hunt, which was something she'd not done for years, and had unfortunately been trampled to death by a whole bunch of stampeding cleft-hooves. So that was a bit shit. And it wasn't the only tragedy for the Frostwolves. In the interim between Koshags, their leader Garad had been claimed as well. On one fateful summer day, the Frostwolves had stumbled across no fewer than 3 ogres, and one of their monstrous masters, a Gron. And although the orcs were ultimately victorious, Garad and several others died from their injuries. So that was a bit shit as well. But in the sorrow of losing a leader was the joy of seeing new blood come into its own. Kashur had spoken well of young Durotan, and from what Ner'zhul had seen, he would make a fine leader. He and his mate, the lovely Draka. Ner'zhul then entered his small hut, one that he had once shared with his own mate, Rolkan. She'd passed to the ancestors several years ago, but she still visited him from time to time. Not with words of wisdom, just encouragement and TLC. But he still missed her. The older shaman then prepared a potion, chanting over it softly before drinking it. He knew it wouldn't actually cause a vision. Nothing would, unless the ancestors willed it. But over the years he'd learned that some herbs open the mind, make your dreams a little bit more lucid. Ner'zhul then closed his eyes and passed out. And the next thing he knew, he was standing on a mountaintop next to his beloved Rolkan. Ner'zhul, my love, this is a new beginning. A new beginning? You have led our people well, but the time has come to deepen the old ways. Take them further, for the good of all. Something nagged at the back of Ner'zhul's mind. His wife had not been a shaman, nor a chieftain. She'd only ever been herself, which was wonderful and more than enough for Ner'zhul, but the point is she'd never held any position in life that would make her speak with such authority. However, that was probably nothing to worry about. So Ner'zhul just went ahead and ignored that alarm bell. I am listening. I knew you would. There are dark and dangerous times ahead for the orcs. We have only ever come together at the Koshag festivals. Such isolation must end if we are to survive as a race. There is a blight upon this world. It must be eliminated. Say it, and it will be done. I will always honour the advice of the ancestors. When it is eliminated, our people will stand proud and tall, even more than they are now. Power and strength will be ours. This world will be ours. And you, Ner'zhul, will lead them. Something in the way Rolkan said the words made Ner'zhul's heart leap. He was already powerful, already revered by the orcs. He kinda already was the de facto leader, even if no one had ever officially said it. But, for some reason, desire now stirred in his heart for even more. And fear. Tell me, Rolkan, what is this threat that must be eliminated, before the orcs can claim what is rightfully theirs? Durotan had been sat eating breakfast with Draka and the newly appointed head shaman of the Frostwolves, Drakthar, when a courier approached and handed him a letter. And in the letter, it said, Unto Durotan, chieftain of the Frostwolf clan. The shaman Ner'zhul gives greetings. I have been granted visions by the ancestors that concern us all. I would speak with the leaders of all the clans on the 12th day of this moon, as well as every shaman. You are to come to the foot of the sacred mountain. There will be catering. If you cannot attend, I will take it as a sign that you do not care for the future of our people, and you'll be banned from any and all future Brain Trust meetings. Forgive my brusqueness, but this matter is of the utmost urgency. Please respond ASAP, laters. Durotan had told the courier to wait whilst he discussed the matter, which the courier seemed quite indignant about, but who cares? What does this mean? I don't know, other than Ner'zhul obviously thinks this is very important. A meeting of the clans has never happened outside the Koshag ceremonies, but I've known Ner'zhul all my life. If the spirits were to speak to any of us about something that threatens us all, they would speak through him. Summoning you like your pets to come at his call. I don't like this, Durotan. It smacks of arrogance. I do not disagree with you. Just the tone of the letter had been enough to raise Durotan's hackles. His gut instinct was to refuse. But, as he read it again, and chose to look past the abrupt rudeness, he could see the overall intent. Something was definitely bothering Ner'zhul. and Durotan respected the elder shaman enough to hear what he had to say. I will go, with all the shaman. I'm coming too. I think it would be best if... I am Draka, daughter of Kelkar and Rikish. I am your intended, soon to be your life partner. You will not forbid me to accompany you. Durotan then threw his head back and laughed. Draka's spirit never ceased to amaze him. He bloody loved her. Call in the courier then. Tell him that we will come to this strange meeting of Ner'zhul's, but we had best be assured of its necessity when we are there. A few days later, the Frostwolves arrived at Ner'zhul's meeting and appeared to be among the first there. Ner'zhul himself greeted them, and as soon as Durotan saw the guy, he knew he'd made the right call to attend. The elder shaman looked as though he'd aged years in the space of a few months. This was no arrogant play for power. Over the next few hours, other clans arrived, and Durotan was pleased to see the banner of the Blackrock clan. He hadn't seen his long-time friend for a while, and Draka was pleased too, because, thankfully, she got on quite well with Orgrim. It's nice when that happens. Sucks balls when your partner and your best mate hate each other. News travelled around the separate clan encampments that the meeting itself would not take place until the following morning, so Durotan, Draka, Drakthar, and the other Frostwolf shaman just kind of sat around by a fire and ate some food and stuff. However, as a shadowy form approached their little camp, Durotan got to his feet and drew himself to his full imposing height. Don't stand up too straight. You'll do your back in. Ha! Welcome, my old friend. Durotan and Orgrim then embraced each other. As tall as the Frostwolf chieftain was, Orgrim was still bigger. In fact, Durotan couldn't help but wonder how he'd ever managed to beat Orgrim in any of their challenges, because the guy was ripped now. Your gathering is small, but it smells the best of any of them. Then sit, tear off a hunk of Talbuck and leave your duties behind for a while. Would that I could, but I don't have much time. If the Frostwolf chieftain would walk with me a bit, I would be honoured. Let us walk then. And so they did. They walked in silence for a time, right up until the campfires were nothing more than small twinkling lights in the distance. And then Orgrim spoke. Blackhand did not want us to come. He thought it demeaning, that Ner'zhul would summon us like we were pets to his call. Draka said exactly the same thing. We weren't going to come either, but I'm glad we did. You saw Ner'zhul's face? Yeah. Blackhand is still raging against the shaman, though. He does not see what you and I do. It wasn't Durotan's place to speak ill of another clan leader, but it was no secret what most orcs thought of Blackhand. He was a powerful orc, bigger and stronger than any other, and he wasn't dumb, he was just a bit of an asshole. However, Durotan decided to hold his tongue. I can see your struggle even in the darkness, my friend. You do not have to speak for me to know what you would say. He is my chieftain. I swore an oath to him which I will not break, but even I have my misgivings. You do? I am torn, Durotan. Torn between my loyalties and what my mind and heart tell me. May you never be put in such a position. As second, I can at least help moderate him somewhat, but not much. He is clan leader. He has the power. I can only hope that he will listen to others tomorrow, and not stubbornly sit on his wounded pride. Durotan shared that hope. If things were indeed as bad as Ner'zhul's face seemed to indicate, the last thing anyone wanted to see was the leader of one of the most powerful clans behaving like a spoiled brat. Durotan's eyes then fell upon a dark shape on Orgrim's back, and both pride and sorrow flooded him. You carry the Doomhammer now. I did not know of your father's passing. He died bravely. Do you remember that day long ago, when we fell afoul of the ogre and the Draenei saved us? I could never forget it. Their prophet spoke of the time when I would receive the Doomhammer. I was so excited about the thought of wielding it in the hunt, but, Velen, that was the first time I understood. That the day it became my weapon would be the day I would be fatherless. It is a glorious thing, a weapon of power, a weapon of prophecy, pride of my lineage, and I would shatter it into 1,000 pieces if it would bring my father back. Without another word, Orgrim strode back towards the camps, and Durotan made no move to follow. Instead, he sat for a long time, staring up at the stars, knowing deep in his soul that soon, the world he'd known all his life was going to radically change. And we're leaving it there! But Jesus, these chapters are all really long. Saying that, we're only 6 chapters and a prologue in, and yet somehow already a third of the way through the book in terms of pages. So that's weird. Link in the description if you're interested in buying the book, as well as for my Discord and my Patreon page too. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!